Hello, welcome to More Than a Game Live. It is off the weekend. We're going to be discussing all of the action from the weekend around Europe as well. With a 1-0 victory over Manchester City. I shouldn't have been, but I was a little bit surprised by this because I thought, I keep expecting, and probably shouldn't do, City to put a little bit of a run together, but just doesn't seem to be happening for them. And, you know, Forest, who've been brilliant all season. Another scalp for them. City had 70% of the ball and 14 shots to 9, but Callum Hudson-Odoi with a
terrible goal.
But won the game. Won the game. And Forest deserve mass credit, don't they, for the way they've gone about the business this season.
No, they're doing really well, aren't they? I mean, top four nearly achieved, though, and this was a big win for them actually, because they had some disappointing results of late, and it felt like maybe other people were starting to catch up with them. But this is a big scalp as they look to get top four or even maybe top five. That could be enough, which should be enough this season. And obviously, they make it really hard at home. They've got a decent back four, even though they have conceded some goals recently. Goalkeeper's doing well, and I think, you know, maybe they just wanted it more than Manchester City, which has become, I suppose, a bit of a sad indictment of Man City recently, that they just look like they're going through the motions.
It's the first win in 3 for Forest. City lose one, win one, lose one. That's the way they are at the moment. But that puts, 51 points to just 4 behind Arsenal. Yeah, and Arsenal can't win at the moment. So they need to be careful looking over the shoulder. I mean, Liverpool took another big step towards the title. I mean, it's done, but the step towards the title with when it is going to be won. It's when, not if now, isn't it? Obviously conceded the goal just before half time. Darwin Núñez, who some said could have been sent off in the first half for kicking out, equalised, and then penalties from 2 penalties from Mo Salah in the last half an hour give Liverpool the victory. And it's over, isn't it? It is over. When.
But again, it's that, don't know whether you want to call it luck or whatever, but Darwin Núñez, I think if he's playing for another club there, he gets a red card. I think that's the facts. Other clubs, they can slock and moan all he wants about what happened in certain games, but they don't half get some luck and some penalties. And in this one, I just think he comes from behind, swipes at his legs and takes him out, and there's no intent in getting the ball. And I always thought that was a red card personally. So the fact that he stayed on the pitch to score and then win a penalty says everything you need to know about where they are at the moment.
They're the most consistent team and they win games, and they've got probably the best player in the world at the moment in Mo Salah. So Southampton are dreadful, aren't they?
Yeah, they are.
They just hasn't happened all season for them, has it? And 9 points, 28 games. It's
shocking, isn't it? What's the record? 11, is it?
11 from
11, isn't it? Derby County.
Derby County.
Yeah.
Can they get another 2 points?
Well, they probably can. They've got
10 games to go.
Yeah, they've got 10 games to get it in.
And Wolves at home on Saturday.
That would be a matter of personal pride to get over that. Whether you believe, that's, you don't want that record, obviously.
No, you've got to have something to chase, haven't you?
But they've been woeful.
Yeah, they haven't covered themselves in glory, have they? Brighton beat Fulham, which was a key win because they're trying to obviously get off their 4th straight win now after they'd had a bit of a rocky. They lost to Everton and lost 7-0 at Forest, but they've responded brilliantly with beat Chelsea 3-0, won 4-0 at Southampton, beat Bournemouth, and they've now beat Fulham and got themselves into 6th spot, just 3 points behind Chelsea in 4th, above Villa, above Bournemouth and Newcastle. So it's a key win because obviously if Fulham would have won, they'd have gone above them.
Yeah, it's a really good win, and it puts them back. It puts them massively in contention for possibility of that Champions League place if it goes to 5th. But again, the penalty in in the last minute. Again,
last minute, what, 98
well,
minutes, whatever it was.
The last minute. Again, now you look at that and think, how many times I've seen that not given so many times. Oh no, good as a couple of weeks ago. I've seen that not given so many times. It's just like, to me, I think it's a very soft penalty. I mean, Pedro shows great composure to put it in to score basic last kick of the game, but again, you just look at what teams get, the penalties they get some weeks, and then other teams can't buy one. It is crazy that I thought it was I just thought it was a very weak penalty
to be given.
Be given.
There you go. Marco wasn't happy, was he? Crystal Palace beat Ipswich by a single goal. Ipswich, they just I've said all season, he reminded me of Luton. They're the ones of the three who have the fight, ultimately the quality just isn't there. You know, another defeat for them. They've lost 4 of the last 5. They've got Nottingham Forest next, which is a tough game.
I think they've got a tough run, haven't they?
And they've got a bad run now. And
but they do play. I think they do play Wolves. It's whether they're anywhere near them by the time they play. But they'll be disappointed with this. The last 10 minutes of the game they concede. I think they were trying to eke out a draw rather than go for anything in the game. And Palace have caught them.
Palace in 11th.
Yeah.
You know, Crystal Palace.
That's unbelievable that they're in 11th.
The world is, you know, if they get to 12th and stay there, everything will be right in the world again. Because wherever they are, they're always mid-table, aren't they? But a good result. Good result for Crystal Palace and move them away from other teams were closing in on them, weren't they? Brentford and Villa, 1-0. I watched a bit of this Villa. Ollie Watkins against his former club. Should have had a second as well. Late on, he ran through, tried to chip it over the keeper. But the goal he scored, and the goalkeeper will be very I mean, we saw him at close quarters have a worldie against Everton. A few saves, but this one at the weekend, he'd be disappointed, won't he, that it went in the way it went in.
Just smashed it through him, didn't he? Smashed it through him. Shows you now and again, just put your foot through it. Got a good opportunity.
Should have saved it. But that's a big win for Villa, isn't it? Because they were just dropping down a bit. Only the second win in 5. Of course, beaten 4-1 like Palace, weren't they, last time out, but got back with a big win and keeps them in touching distance. Obviously, they're now 6 behind Forest in 3rd, 4 behind Chelsea in 4th. You know, 2 points behind City, 1 behind Brighton, but more importantly, got them above Newcastle and Bournemouth and back into that mix. Good race going on, isn't it?
No, that's the real story, isn't it? At the Premier League at the moment, that's the real story. Who's going to get the Champions League places and the European places? And I think, you know, this is where PSR has sort of levelled out the game. Is those European places and going,
not so much above it.
Yeah, going for trying to get those places. It's dragged a few in. Man United and you know, is one of the casualties of it. But obviously there's got to be at least what does it go down to, about 9th now for European places? No, not for European places. And saying
the battle. No, the
people
battle
trying to get European.
Well, Fulham are in 10th and they are 5 off Manchester City.
Well, there you go.
And if you're going to say 6th, which is what it's marked down as European football at the moment, they're 4 behind Brighton. So they're still in it, you know, and Crystal Palace are probably just out of it at the moment unless they put a good win and run together. And they play Southampton actually next, so they've got a good chance there. But it's really an interesting one. Wolves and Everton drew 1-1 in what was a terrible game of football on Saturday night. Everton safe from relegation. Wolves, an opportunity. I think if you're a Wolves fan, and I think if you're Vita Pereira, you'd be thinking that was an opportunity to win that game there. But obviously it hasn't happened. They now go to Southampton at the weekend. Crystal Palace, wonder why. Anyway, they must have had one of the. I wonder why in Palace playing. till the second. Well, I'm interested because when you look at the thing, Southampton's next 2 games.
Probably because they were due to play Newcastle.
Were they?
Probably.
Oh, yeah, they must be, yeah. Oh, no, because I was thinking Liverpool were playing it, but they may play Villa. That's why their game was played ahead. Wolves, one more, what are we looking? 6 points. Much better goal difference than Ipswich, Leicester.
Many people could argue that they might be safe right now. But you don't know that.
Yeah, but you don't.
No, you don't know. But just in terms of like...
It's only 10 games, isn't it?
Just in terms of like probabilities. I mean, yeah. They need... What? If Ipswich and Leicester got a point a game, 27. So Wolves would need 4 points.
Because they got a better goal difference.
But
so win at Southampton at the weekend.
So the actual chances of Ipswich and Leicester getting a point a game, considering they've only got 17 out of 28, is also quite slim out there as well. And what we do know is like this is what genuinely happens, isn't it? Is that you stay with what you've had most of the season. Okay, teams towards the bottom will pick up wins towards the end, just because other teams start switching off and maybe their needs greater. And Ipswich and Leicester they're trying to almost come to a place where they are trying to just not concede goals, right, and then hope that something just drops for them in 1 or 2 games. But I think if Wolves win. If they could win 2 more games out of the 10, and that they have got, by the way, Southampton, Ipswich, Leicester, West Ham. So all the teams round them. I said
the night early on.
Even if they drew all those games,
that the 3 that come up won't get 30 points. So if you go by that,
can get 20 points.
If you go by that, Wolves only need 7 points to be absolutely certain. They won't need 7, but. If they got 30 points, you go to safe. And
it's really hard to envisage Ipswich and Leicester getting 30 points right now.
Massively,
because they must have picked up, less than 3 points between them since the turn of the year.
Maybe, yeah. Pair of them, Leicester have lost the last 5 and a lot more before that. And Ipswich have got 1 draw in the land, 4 defeats. That was at Aston Villa that they dug in. But, yeah, I think Wolves win at Southampton on Saturday. Ipswich face Forest. Leicester face United at home. He might grind a draw there. But if Fernandes plays like he can, so United will win. So it's on Wolves. Go to Southampton, win. 26 points. You'd be safe with that, really, because... You would think over the other 9 games that they're capable of getting 4 or 5 points from the other 9 games. So I think it was a big point for them on Saturday night to edge them a bit closer. Chelsea beat Leicester on Sunday to get themselves into the top 4. Cole Palmer missing a penalty, though. But apparently he was ill and shouldn't have been on the pitch.
Cold Palmer?
I think he probably had a little bit more than a cold, but there you go. Bournemouth.
You're not a doctor?
No, not at all. Bournemouth went to Spurs, took a 2-goal lead. Tavernier and Evanilson got them 2 up, but then conceded straight away. Less than 2 minutes after scoring, it went 2-1, and that's always puts you under pressure. And then Spurs got a penalty, which Son equalised from. Clive, it was given.
Why do goalkeepers do that? Why did he come out at 100 miles an hour knowing that even if they don't touch the player and the player touches them, it's going to be a penalty because of the momentum? I'll never understand that at all. He was going nowhere.
No.
He was going absolutely nowhere.
Very strange. Very, very strange. But Bournemouth have been brilliant, haven't they? I mean, you look at them, they're so exciting to watch. They fly forward. And they're in with a brilliant chance of Europe. The 3 points off City, who are in 5th, and they are...
If they did get Europe, would they have to play someone's ground? Someone else's ground?
They wouldn't in the Conference League and that, would they?
I just think of some teams like you've played in Europe, and we always go, they can't. I mean, remember when Everton played Atalanta, and they had to play on someone else's ground because theirs was big enough. And I look at Bournemouth and go, your ground's not big enough. But then if it is like Conference or something, I suppose they would do.
Think of think you've played at Shrewsbury's ground and that. I think CNS, isn't it? They've played at Shrewsbury and things like that. So Bournemouth, they'd be all right. But they've got a great chance, haven't they? The three. Like
what have they got champion? Like, genuinely, what if they got 5th place?
They could under one win off it. Be amazing. What a story that'd be.
Surely they couldn't play their Champions League games at their ground.
11,000. I don't know what the rulings are. I don't know what that.
I don't know.
If only our producer.
Yeah. Well played, sir. Well played.
What's the minimum capacity to play a Champions League game? What do you have to play?
There probably isn't a minimum capacity. There's probably minimum facilities.
Isn't it things like
could you have?
It's for the TV stuff, isn't it? Yeah. And all the journalists.
And I'm sure the Premier League stuff's probably pretty similar though. So, but I just don't believe football clubs in the Premier League should have grounds.
Yeah, imagine no Champions League teams going there. Because it's so tight and small. It's horrible,
I just don't think Premier League teams should be allowed to.
Well, Bill Foley wants to increase it, doesn't he?
Do it then. Do it then.
I think he is.
Do it then.
I don't think he can do it that quick. I think it takes a little bit longer.
It says 1,500 seats minimum and some fairly basic facilities.
Thanks, James.
Okay.
You've really enlightened me.
All right. Really enlightened.
It's called the Category 2 Stadium.
Okay.
Is it now?
There you go. And then the final game yesterday was United v Arsenal. Arsenal had to win if they had, and it would have still been a really slim slither of a hope of winning the Premier League. They went to Old Trafford. Bruno Fernandes scored. Great free kick. Arsenal level, good finish by Declan Rice to make it 1-1, but ultimately they didn't have enough. Mikel Arteta was asked, is that over in the Premier League now, when he just walked off? Didn't seem
they are rubbish, aren't they? They have got to be the worst like second place team for a while.
The problem is they were really good in the first half of the season, but they needed a centre forward, and we spoke about this all the way back. We spoke about it in August when the window was on. Who would they get? Would they go and get Ivan Toney? Would they get it? And they haven't gone and got a centre forward. They didn't go and do it in January when they had the option to bring in. They should have gone. You know, they had a little tentative toe in the water over Sesko instead of just going and buying him. But there was other strikers available in January. Ollie Watkins. So the story goes. I don't know how accurate it is, but Villa wanted 4 million more than what Arsenal offered. I mean, I can't see how they would have let him go, but that was one of the stories. If that's the case, then that's negligent from Arsenal. If you're prepared to pay. No, he is, but if, just let's say the fee was 50 million, and if Villa went, well, 54, you can have them, and they wouldn't pay it. You were about to pay 50, and this is a league. I'm not saying that was accurate, by the way, they were just some of the rumours. But they've had opportunities. They knew they were in a title race the minute that window opened, because they were quite close to Liverpool at the start of it.
I just think it's.
You've got Mikel Merino up front.
I just think it should have been done in the summer.
Of course it should have been done.
That, like, when you finish second, like a couple of years in a row to Man City,
got to go again.
I think Arteta, with his knowledge of Man City, surely, and just general football knowledge, would have looked at them and gone, these can't maintain this season.
He might have done, but
so therefore you go, right, no, but it's not about ignoring Liverpool. Arsenal have got 55 points in this 10 games to go. That's terrible. That's bad for the second team to have 55 points with 10 games left. That's garbage. So I would look at them and go, they've
drawn, haven't they? That's 10 draws.
I just think you look at them, and go, you should have gone big in the summer, as big as you possibly could, to try and win the title. And Liverpool have just stepped over you because they had the continuity to their squad from the season before, and they've got a brilliant front six, and it's so interchangeable, and they've got they've got nobody. They've got nobody to put the ball in the back of the net when it really matters.
They lost Saka, didn't they? Once they lost him, it was over, wasn't it? And, it's killed them. And you look, I mean, Liverpool have got 69 goals. Arsenal have scored 52. Chelsea, City have scored more than Arsenal. Tottenham have scored more than Arsenal, and Tottenham are in 13. You can look at it and go, well, yeah, but
I think it just comes down to those moments.
Defensively, they got the best defence in the league. 24 goals conceded, but they can't. No. It's the other end of the pitch. Right. 10 draws tells you it. The draws get you over the line, don't they? 10 them draws and see victories. They haven't won a game in the last 3 either. 2 points out of 9. Really disappointing for them. United, the worst Manchester United side I've seen since probably the 80s. They're absolutely dreadful. You know, they've got Bruno Fernandes, who's brilliant, and he's the talisman, he's carrying them. Garnacho has flashes of where he's the real threat. They've got some other good players in there, but just as a team and a collective right now, they're struggling big time. Tottenham needs the time.
Tottenham have scored 20 more goals than Manchester United have.
Yeah.
Like, that's awful. Brentford have scored 14.
Only conceded one less, Tottenham. Conceded one more, didn't you?
34 goals they've scored, that's woeful.
Well, Everton were getting hammered, weren't they, for not being able to score goals, and Everton have only scored 3 less than United now. And we were dreadful.
Got a better goal difference.
So there's work to be done, Amarin. Obviously, let him get on with it. He'll be a good coach. You've got to give him some of the stuff he needs as well. And I think he needs that summer to just have a break and then get all of his points across when they're not playing games of footy. But of course, they're still in Europe. They can win. You know, they can win the Europa League and then they would be in the Champions League. So they've got to just double down on that. But they're struggling right now. But they're 3 unbeaten now after losing a couple. So but you're right. So the relegation looks like it's 3 from 4, but we feel like Wolves are fine, don't we? And it's the European places that is the big one over there with the league being done. Well, somewhere where the league isn't done is Italy, Serie A, which is an absolutely brilliant title race between 3 sides. Inter Milan got 61 points from 28 games. Napoli have got 60 points from 28 games. Atalanta have got 58 points from 28 games. What's mad is Napoli, that they won yesterday 2-1, but it was the first victory we've won 1 in 6. 5 had had a win before yesterday. Romelu Lukaku was amongst the goal scorers. But to be that tight in a league race and not won any of your last 5, they should have had, you feel like they should have had the league sewn up. But have been struggling to win. But they beat Fiorentina 2-1, Romelu Lukaku, and Raspadori with the goals got them over the line. Inter, who are top of the moment, some people's dark horse tip for the Champions League.
Because they don't concede many goals.
I mean, they've got 27 and 28 Serie A games. But I think in the Champions League, I think they've only let in 2, I think it is, or something like that. Brilliantly defensively. And they top at the moment, beat Monza. I'm saying he don't let goals in Monza, put the ball in the net twice against them yesterday. Monza were 2-0 up yesterday before Arnautovic, Chalhaglu, I can never say his name, and Kyriakopoulos got the winner for them to go 3-2. But, the most impressive performance, I think, yesterday was Atalanta, who went to Juve and won 4-0. 3rd v 4th. Juventus could have gone level with them with a victory. But it ended 4-0. Adamola Lookman amongst the goal scorers. Retegui, De Room, Zappacosta and Lookman making it 4-0. And they battered them nearly 19 shots to 9. But they're a brilliant side, Atalanta, aren't they? They've done tremendous work.
They have. They have over the last, say, 7 or 8 years to get the club where it is. They've done brilliantly well, and I know the manager's been he did criticise Lookman the other day for missing a penalty, and Lookman had to come out and have a go at his own manager, which was a bit weird, but no, they've done brilliantly well, and 3rd place, 3 points off the top from a club that didn't really have much of a, massive tradition. Not certainly a club that have been a big name since Italian football's been, on our screens, I think. But they've been brilliant the last 7 or 8 years. Obviously culminating in winning that Europa League. Yeah, and obviously they'll qualify for the Champions League again, you imagine, for next season. So, brilliant.
I think superb. I mean, even looking down, Lazio and Bologna, 5th and 6th, they're on 50 points. Lazio have got a game in hand on Juve. Bologna, 2 points behind them. They're on a great run at the moment. They've won 3 on the run. And Roma, under Ranieri, 46 points. And a lot of, Roma, there was a few raised eyebrows when they went. They've had a turbulent start that they went through. Obviously, sacked De Rossi, sacked Juric, who's now taking Southampton down. And then went to Ranieri.
Yeah.
And people were going, he's retired and it's a little bit of a strange appointment, but he's got the results for them. He's steadied the ship. They're in the race for Europe. They've got work to do, of course they have, but they're only 4 points behind the Europe.
Well, they've won 7 of the last 8 games.
Yeah, Sule with a first-minute goal yesterday, and you look at that and you've got to sort of take your hat off to him because 5 wins on the bounce now for them.
Yeah,
to put them there is it's a brilliant story, isn't it?
Yeah, they've done really, really well since making that decision. The Freakins will be absolutely made up, but made 2 big decisions in the last 3 months, and both of them have paid off for the 2 clubs they own, and they'll think after what was so much noise at the beginning of the season, the turbulence around Roma, they'll think they've got this one sorted, and they just need. They won the first leg of the Europa League the other night as well, so puts them in a good position going into the second leg. Yeah, interesting.
It is definitely interesting. Bologna play Udinese tonight. Sorry, Lazio rather than Bologna. Lazio play Udinese tonight. So if Lazio win, they go back above Juve into that 4th spot, doing really well. So it's really, really interesting, that league, because so many people can still win it, which is ultimately what you want, isn't it? You want it to be as open as possible when you're looking at, particularly when we're here looking at the Premier League and it's already done. You start going, what's everyone else doing in other countries? Is it over? Is it, is it the interest still there? And it certainly is in Italy. Moving over to La Liga, Kylian Mbappe was much maligned earlier on in the season. There was obviously a lot of interest when he went there. He didn't sort of hit the ground running, did he? If we put it like that, he didn't hit the ground running. But of late, he has started to put the ball in the net regularly, and he scored again. They beat Vallecano 2-1. He put Madrid ahead. Vinicius Junior added a second. But looking at the stats from the game, Vallecano 20 attempts to Real Madrid's 10, 55% possession, and also had 6 shots on target to Real's 5.
Yeah.
So not a hugely convincing performance from Madrid, but a win nevertheless. And Carlo probably won't be really bothered, will he? It's all about can you win the game, and Madrid did win the game.
Yeah, I think I don't know, it feels like they've maybe took the foot off the pedal a little bit with, after the big game from the week in the Champions League, and then the next, big Europe, big coming up, the next one. So I think it almost feels like sometimes, I think Carlo is like, he knows when to not rest players as such, but just knows when one game is more important than another. And I think Jude Bellingham came back from his suspension as well. Modric started, and I think it was just one of those games you just like, let's just get through this, lads, try and kill it early. And they got the points at the end of the day.
Barcelona is still top. They've won their last 6, but they didn't play their games.
Their game was called off because their doctor died. I think it was just before the game. He died, really close to the game kicking off.
Did he? Yeah.
So their doctor, so that's why their game was postponed really late.
Yeah, sad that. But the other team in that title race was Atletico Madrid, and they went to Getafe and were beaten 2-1. Salah put them ahead, didn't he, in the 75th minute. They then Aaron Barry equalised in the 88th. He had Correa sent off the same minute. And then Aaron Barry got the winner in the 92nd minute to turn it around for Getafe. So that cost them, because obviously they'd have won. They were top of the league. So we just talked about how tight it is in Serie A. Well, there's a point between the top three here. Barca do have the game in hand, of course.
Yeah.
But Simeone, that's a huge opportunity missed there, isn't it? 1-0 up with 2 minutes to go. I think you're going to see the game out and you lose it. For his team as well, to lose it.
Yeah, very strange for one of his sides. Normally very switched on. And again, talking about Champions League and that second leg coming up at home and all square. Sorry, they're getting beat 2-1, aren't they? So they'll have had one eye on that, and maybe that's distracted them, maybe. But listen, they're still only a point off it. Yeah, Barcelona have got a game in hand, but they're still only a point off it. Miles ahead in terms of qualifying again for the Champions League. But you do get the feeling that it is all about stopping Real Madrid as well, getting, going forward in the Champions League. So probably just one of those days, only their third defeat this season. So he'll be disappointed because he knows what it could have been, but
the way it is, isn't it? Yeah. And Athletic Club, who've done well to sort of stay as close as they can to the others. They entertained Mallorca and drew 1-1. Nico Williams equalising Arenas' goal after 56 minutes. They're behind. They're still in that other spot. They are 7 points behind Madrid and that now, 8 behind Barca. But they're 5 ahead of Villarreal, who do have a game in hand though. But they've done really well as well. I think they've only lost once in the last 6, so good for them. And I mean, where do you see the two Spanish teams in terms of the Champions League? Because obviously Barca won in Benfica, didn't they, in the first leg? And Real beat Atletico Madrid. I mean, it's hard, it's hard to look past Real Madrid because there's other great teams still left in it, but you do, or I do personally, look at Madrid and just think the history with that competition, the know-how that Ancelotti has in it, the know-how their players have in it, even though they're not at the best, I still look at them and think they've got a great opportunity to win this again.
No, they have, because they've got all that knowledge. It's just part of their DNA, and that's what Atletico Madrid going. I mean, they're getting beat 2-1, but that's still a brilliant opportunity, and you almost feel like that's the best opportunity. Local rivals who have always been big spoilers, so they're going to need a big performance. I think Barcelona have been good, but you could sort of see their frailties as well. Just they're very open, and I think for a better side, that's easier to maybe cope with as we get closer to the end. But there'll be two sides no one want to face just because they're doing so well, and obviously Barcelona have been transformed this season to a much sort of. I mean, they scored in the Liga. They scored 71 goals and conceded 25. I mean, that's unbelievable. That's absolutely unbelievable. So, yeah, no one would want to face any of those three clubs because they all bring in their own different scenarios. We know with Atletico Madrid over 2 legs, they can suffocate you. You can wear you down. They've been brilliant at that over the years. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see where they're. La Liga's weird because it's not. I don't think it's not the best league in the world anymore, but it's certainly, again, you look at the options.
Very technical.
You look at the options for winning the Champions League, and you think there's 3 teams there that no one would want to face if they have to.
Interesting. Going from there to Germany. Bayern Munich, who are running away with it, so to speak. They are 8 points ahead of Leverkusen. We're winning 2-0 against Bochum at the weekend, or Bochum. Guerrero with a double, 14 and 28. Medic pulled one back And then João Palhinha got sent off just before half-time. Second half, Ibrahim Sissoko and Mateus Barrow scored for Bochum, and they come back and beat them 3-2. So that opens the door, you'd think, for Leverkusen. They entertained Werder Bremen at home, and they got beat 2-0 by Werder Bremen. Romano Schmidt and Justin Ninjma with the goals. Give them a 2-goal victory. And they're really the only two who were in the race.
Yeah.
You know, Bayern Munich 61 points and Leverkusen 53. Real frustration there, because obviously a win would have cut it to 5 points. It's still a lot, but 8 when your opponents have lost.
Yeah.
To then go and lose a home game that, you know, you would have expected to win Werder Bremen in 12th. 12th spot before the day, you know. I mean, Bochum were in the relegation battle, weren't they? So, or the playoff as they do it. So they'd be kicking themselves, Leverkusen, there to make the opportunity to close that. Yeah, to close the gap. Elsewhere, Mainz, who were in third, they beat St. Pauli 2-0. Jaisung and Nebel with the goals there. Eintracht Frankfurt, they were beaten at home as well. 3 of the top 4 getting beat at home. Freiburg only drew, they're 5th. But I suppose when you look at it, they drew with Leipzig, who was 6th, didn't they? They drew none, but Dortmund, they were at home. Augsburg. And we're beaten. We're beaten 1-0, and Dortmund at the moment in 10th position.
Yeah.
Could they miss out on European football? They're only 4 points off it. Yeah. So you look and go, you know, 10th is mad, but you look at that, but on Leipzig on 39 and Augsburg on 35. I mean, you could even argue Bremen on 33, it's 6 points, but 4 points separates 11th from 6th place. You know, Wolfsburg, Stuttgart, Mönchengladbach, Dortmund, Augsburg, Leipzig, all in the race for that, for one of those European places. But it'd be mad if Dortmund missed out on Euro, wouldn't it? It shouldn't be, but it would feel like...
Yeah, I mean, they're still in the Champions League, aren't they? So, play Lille on Wednesday. So they're still in the Champions League, and maybe they've struggled juggling that this season with more games in the Champions League to compete with. Maybe that's been the issue, but and maybe that's why, you know, at the weekend they are looking at that Lille game and thinking again. You're looking at a lot of teams in Europe we've just talked about with maybe you've got one eye on getting through the Champions League, and it's took their eye off the ball, or they've just thought, well, I don't know. It's just one of those things that can happen sometimes because it's so important and the money that it brings. And I still think Dortmund will qualify because I think they'll get knocked out. If it's not this round, the next round of the Champions League, and then all focus will be on Bundesliga and qualifying for Europe again. So we'll wait and see. But just a bit of a mad weekend. You get these things in football where, you know, they don't have the power of maybe, say, the English clubs, the strength.
No.
And the finance.
Yeah, absolutely. MLS is back. I've been watching it. Will Sahari, who plays for Charlotte, involved. Last week he got man of the match and was given a big crown. This week they played Inter Miami, and he got the goalkeeper sent off after 28 minutes. I think it might have been or something. Looked a soft one for me. Looked like Zaha doing what Zaha can do, which is initiate contact. Goalie come out, but didn't actually do anything. He sort of stopped, and Zaha put his leg out to kick him and went down, and the keeper was sent off. But Inter Miami did win, but Messi stayed on the bench carrying an injury. Allende scored the goal, but they took Suarez off.
What did you make of the situation last week when Houston, who Inter Miami were playing, had to put like a statement out saying basically Messi didn't play, so they put a statement out basically saying, right, we're gonna, the fans who've paid for the tickets today, we're gonna like look after you, because this is obviously a big problem in MLS, is that teams are putting either tickets up or they're putting together like packages of like, say, 5 games that you have to buy if you want to watch Inter Miami.
Yeah.
And they've had to come out and go, because he's not playing, we're going to have to do something to like reimburse our own fans or make it right.
It's weird, isn't it? Because, listen, he's still fantastic. Doesn't matter what you think of MLS. You watch Messi play, and he's absolutely brilliant. His ability. And therefore he's of course he's the hottest ticket in town, probably the greatest player ever to play the game, or certainly in that conversation, isn't he? So people want to see it. He still looks, when you watch him play, okay, when a defender, he just walks around the pitch, but when he's on the ball, his vision, he scored a goal the other weekend, what was it, -15 in Kansas, it was unbelievable. But he's still a real draw. I mean, you watch Luis Suarez. I seen Suarez the other day talking, saying, like, it takes him 10 minutes when he wakes up to be able to walk because of his knee. He said, people see me when I go into the training ground, and they're like, there's no way you're playing at the weekend. Yeah. And then I don't know whether he has injections or he has whatever, but he plays. I think he scored a cracker last week, and you see him, and the weight's on him a little bit, because he's just not he's never been like a ripped centre forward, Suarez, but obviously you can just see he's like not as lean as what he was, but he's still got that ability, goal scoring, brilliant. But Messi just still looks like Messi, and his ability to travel with the ball and stuff. So of course everybody's going to want to see Messi if he's playing in your state. You want to go and see him. I'm not sure how I feel about the sort of exploitation.
I think it's horrendous.
Because it shouldn't be like that.
I think it's horrendous.
You're devaluing everybody else in the squad and your own players.
I just think it's a horrendous practice. It's obviously it's very, very American, and I just think it's horrendous. And for clubs to come out and apologise, and for another club deciding their player wasn't fit enough to play, and this kind of thing, I just think it is exploitation. It's an exploitation of your own fan base to put these things together. I just think it's really poor. And okay, listen, if teams have got season tickets and stuff, then, and it's part of the package that you get, obviously you get every game, then so be it. And as long as they haven't gone up dramatically, I understand I get the concept of saying, right, well, if you're buying one for them, you're not just coming to the ground for this one game to watch Messi. If you're coming, because that's obviously going to attract fans of who don't care and they just want to see Messi's. And I like the idea of going, well, you're buying 5, but this idea of apologising, I think, is ridiculous. If you're a football fan and you understand football, and you understand, like you've just said, a fella's 35 or 36 or whatever, he's going to miss games. And like it was -15, he was playing in Kansas, and he played in that because it was like the Champions League, Champions League, and he played it. But then he's might take a little bit of time to recover from that. And the conditions in America are so up and down. You could be playing on the West Coast and it's really warm, and then you could be playing on the Midwest, and the conditions can be terrible. But I just think that you've got to know those kind of things, haven't you? You've got to know that he's not going to play every game. If it's on AstroTurf, there's going to be a question to ask about that. If he's going to play on 4G, that's not good on the knees. And clubs shouldn't be apologising. They should just be like, well, he mightn't make it. It's that. That's just the way it is. We're sorry. We're sad. We're sad that he can't play, but that's just the way it is. Yeah, sport.
It is. That certainly is the way it is. Just quickly in MLS, the big story is San Diego, who obviously new expansion team. They won again at the weekend. They won 3-1 at Real Salt Lake, coming from behind to win that 3-1. They've had a brilliant start to their life as a expansion team. They're in second in the Western Conference. Vancouver have won all 3 games, and in the Eastern Conference, Philadelphia Union, who are always a good side, have won their opening 3 games as well, into Miami second with 7 points, as are Columbus Crew. There you go. Just a few comments before we wrap it up. Just refresh that for the comments. Go. Daniel Reel says, we are so back. Fair play, Daniel. David Eo saying, everyone doing their best to help Liverpool win the league. Ian Barron says, I've subscribed and good luck with the channel going forward. Thank you. Sean Collins says, Liverpool have had 9 penalties in the Premier League this season. Royal Blue Jack says, where would Manchester United be without Bruno Fernandes? Championship. He'd be struggling, wouldn't he? Because he has been the talisman, hasn't he? I mean, when we were both at Goodison the other week, he was the only player. Him and I thought Dorgu looked quite good at Everton, looked like a decent footballer, and when Amarim gets him going. But Fernandes was the only sort of X factor one you looked at. Yeah. I thought against us, they just looked very average. Eugene thinks Newcastle will win the cup against Liverpool at the weekend. Ian Barron says Manchester United are the only club in Europe who is still unbeaten though.
Yeah.
It's mad, isn't it? And Jordan says, a question, promoted teams, could there be something in looking the 3 promoted teams get to post a higher loss in order for them to build competitive squads for the league? In other words, should the rules change slightly for promoted teams, I guess?
I suppose this is what Forest were arguing.
Yeah.
Wasn't it? This is what Forest would have been arguing. Yeah, I think there needs to be excuse me, I think there needs to be some kind of restructure, saying with the parachute payments.
Yeah.
And then how we look at teams when they come up. Because we're aiding the teams going down to have a better opportunity to come and straight back up. Yeah.
And Emma says, bit of a heads up for the pre-season packages. Should you go through the club, do it yourself, and are the tickets easily accessible?
I don't know what where the tickets are.
The Premier League website. They're on the pre-sale.
They're on pre-sale, aren't they? I think they're like $77 a game. No, I would do your own thing, Emma. I mean, I wouldn't go on a package because then you are beholden to them, aren't you? I'd do your own thing. You know, fly into New York via either go out of Dublin or go via Reykjavik or go just whatever, and then get internal flights. The internal flights will be the ones that surprise you. They'll be expensive. To Chicago and then down to Atlanta, they'll be expensive. And then Atlanta, fly home from Atlanta. Atlanta's one of America's biggest hubs, so you can get flights out of there really easily. And then you can dictate when you want to go and when you want to leave, or just stay.
And what, live there?
Yeah.
Why would you want to live there? Well, she might. I don't know, but I don't imagine you.
But I wouldn't wait forever. I don't think there would be an Everton package either. I don't think Everton fans travelling to America, if I'm honest, but do it yourself and see what you want to do. You could go to New York for the weekend and then go to Chicago and then...
All things are available, but just start looking for yourself and just see.
You can fly from Liverpool to Dublin and then go through the
American
customs in Dublin. And when you get to New York, you can just get off the plane and you don't have to worry about customs. And it's so much better because American customs are typically difficult. They can be difficult. And if you're a little bit groggy from a flight or just aren't up for taking questions off people who ask you a million questions, whereas when you go through Dublin, it's when you're a little bit more excited and bright-eyed and you keep the clarity of what you want to say.
There you go.
Just not just a football channel, but also a travel help.
Well, that's what it's about, isn't it? Here to help.
David, Atlanta does have its own railway in the station in the airport. I have been on said railway. But so did Washington, didn't it? Washington had its own train.
As well, Orlando's monorail thing, doesn't it? Nottingham Forest lost their appeal against a fine, $750,000 fine for their comments about Luton Town after the defeat by Everton back in April. So they'll have to pay the £750,000 fine. There you go. Right, we are done. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining us. Make sure you like and subscribe. There'll be another live show on Friday. But look, I will be doing other videos, just videos on this channel as well. But nice one for joining us, and we'll see you all on Friday. See you later.
Bye.